Hello everyone, I am Ankush Shedimar and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss Essay 299, that is Joint Audit of Financial Statements, from our very own new concept book that covers all your tricky points as an example in the concept book itself. And we are going to also discuss few tricky questions from your question bank as well. And all the highlights of this concept book is mentioned in one of the video. You can definitely watch that video by turning the language to English. But we are going to mark you some important topics from in this video from the Essay 299 topics. So do ensure you watch the video till last. We are going to cover this particular topic from our handwritten notes, and this time we have made the handwritten notes in more detailed and more colorful format. The PDF or the handwritten notes can be found on our Telegram channel. Do subscribe this Telegram channel, which will the link can be found in our pinned comment and the description, because in the Telegram channel you will get the PDF of handwritten notes, and we are also going to conduct an MCQ test for this particular topic at the end of the day, so that you get a comprehensive coverage of your CA final audit. And on this YouTube channel we have posted all your revision videos before this topic, and we are going to post most of the revision videos for your CA final audit. And so do subscribe this YouTube channel for more such valuable resources in CA final audit. Do like this video to mark your attendance. The target is 250 likes. I'm pretty sure that you will help me to achieve this target. And do comment down CA with your name so that you make a manifestation that you are definitely going to clear your CA exams. And sir, if you are finding any difficulty in studying any topic, then you can just pause the video and read the topic yourself, because you know that more than the revision video, self-study is very much important. And all your queries, all your questions should be in the comment box that I can reply to, so that other students can also get their query resolved. Okay, yes sir, without much ado, let's start with our Essay 299 that talks about joint audit of financial statements. So what is joint audit of financial statements? So suppose there is a company which is audited by AN company, BN company, CN company. So basically there are three auditors. So whenever there are two or more auditors for auditing that particular same company for the same financial year, that is called joint audit, and all these auditors are called joint auditors. So here how we can remember the name, sir? Here we can remember the number by 9, and 9 comes jointly, so that is a joint audit of financial statements. Why this joint audit of financial statements as standard is issued? So that in some of big companies and large corporations there is a practice of involving joint auditors, because it is a big company, so there are many people that would be required to complete the audit. Now in that particular case, to avoid any confusion among the joint auditors regarding the responsibility, regarding the audit report, regarding the work that has to be done, who has to do what, when has to be done, how they have to communicate with the management, everything is given in your Essay 299 to avoid any misunderstanding among the joint auditor. Okay, yes sir, I hope you got to know why the standard was issued. Now let's start with the first topic of Essay 299, that is planning and making strategy for joint audit. What is planning, what is strategy? We will discuss that in your next revision video, that is on Essay 300. For now you can understand we are just planning and we are just strategizing about the audit. Now is it like that the big auditor, the topmost biggest auditor of the among the joint auditor will be having the sole responsibility of doing everything in the joint audit? No, it is not like that. Since you are the joint auditors, you have to work in coordination, you have to work in complementary with each other. So they are saying that the planning and strategy should be done jointly by all the joint auditors. Okay, yes sir. What do we have to do in planning? First is your PR. PR is basically your preliminary engagement activities, the results of preliminary engagement activities you have to see. What is the preliminary engagement activities? We have already discussed it earlier. When, sir? We have discussed Essay 210, in which we discuss about the terms of engagement. Essay 220 we discuss about your acceptance and continuance of client relationship, ethical requirements, compliance. That is all 3 points are covered in your preliminary engagement activities. We have to perform those preliminary engagement activities. Next, in terms of strategy, we will see in your Essay 300 that strategy comprises of 3 words, that is STD, not PCO STD wala STD. It is scope, timing and direction. Scope is basically what all things are covered into the audit. Timing is basically when we have to complete the audit, and direction is basically where we have to focus our more attention on. So here in terms of scope, in terms of strategy, what we have to remember in terms of scope, we need to decide the division of audit areas. Since there are multiple joint auditors, we can decide the audit areas something like there are suppose 3 businesses and there are 3 joint auditors. So each business can be handled by one joint auditor, like audited by one joint auditor. Or if there is only one business, then we can divide the audit area in terms of maybe assets goes to one particular joint auditor, liabilities for some part go to one joint auditor, and liabilities other part goes to one joint auditor. So we can divide the areas among ourselves based on any of the identifiable units. And second is we need to identify the common audit area. Suppose inventory is the single most biggest asset in the balance sheet, and it is also spread in multiple locations. So we are identifying inventory as a common audit area. Common area, which means what? Everyone together will perform their procedures on this particular area. Okay, yes sir. So in scope we need to decide this. Second, in terms of timing, we need to ascertain the reporting objectives, which means what? We need to ascertain the timetable for reporting, when the TOC is to be completed, TOD completed, EP review is to be done, IQCR review is to be done, when the report is to be issued, when the financial statement will be issued. All the reporting objectives we have to ascertain. And in terms of direction, we need to find out what are the factors that are important in directing the engagement team efforts, where we have to direct our engagement team efforts more. Suppose there is a increase in ROMAM in that particular area, then we can think that okay, we need to direct our team efforts in more in that particular area. So what are the factors that will help us in deciding in which areas our team efforts are to be directed more? Okay, yes sir. Next, while planning and strategy, we will ascertain the NTE of resources. What is NTE of resources? NT, nature, timing, extent. So what are the resources that we need, when the resources is to be need, and to what extent, what is the quantity of resources that we need. So that will help us in deciding the NTE of resources. So suppose there is a ROMAM, there is more ROMAM, so more resources are required. What is the timing, which means at the year end we need more resources. So something like that we will decide, we will ascertain while planning and strategizing the joint audit. How will we remember these all points? Are first of all, in terms of planning, before accepting the audit, we do PR, that is preliminary engagement activities. For strategy, we have scope, timing, and direction. For scope, division of audit areas and common audit areas. For timing, asserting the reporting objectives. And for reduction, directing the engagement team's effort. And after knowing everything, we can get to know what is the NT of resources that we will be needing. Okay, yes sir. Next is some of the MCQ points that can be asked by the ICA. First of all, is each joint auditor should assess ROMAM, not the topmost auditor should only assess. Each joint auditor is entitled to assess ROMAM, and he should communicate to others. He should communicate to others. So here ROMAM is low, here ROMAM is higher, based on his assessment. Next, all the joint auditors should discuss and document the NTE of procedures. Whatever the NTE of procedures they are planning or they should plan, they have to discuss the NTE of procedures among themselves regarding the common audit area, the area which is common to them, suppose inventory, and for their specifically allotted areas as well. Suppose there are 3 business. So for my business which I am auditing, I need to discuss the NTE of procedures that I will be performing to other joint auditors as well. Okay, so it is both for common audit area and specifically allotted area, and I have to communicate to TCWG. Next, sir, do I have to engage? Do I have to obtain separate engagement letters for each of the joint auditors? Each of the joint auditors should obtain a separate written representation letter. No, it is not like that. Engagement letter we have studied in SA 210, and written representation we have studied in SA 580. So they are saying no, don't increase the work of yourself and of management. So you have joint auditors have to obtain common engagement letter, one common engagement letter, and one common management representation letter. What is a management representation, sir? It is written representation letter. Now the work that we have allocated, like the businesses that we have allocated, do we need to just orally assure each other, or we have to write it somewhere? They have told that you have to maintain a work allocation document as well. Why, sir? Because my girlfriend was also saying that she will stay with me till my life, and now she is not here. I should have taken her on affidavit. I can understand you. Just please stop your video and you can just wash your face and you can come back. But yeah, I was saying that we should have a work allocation document, and this work allocation document should be signed by all the joint auditors, so that after a few months, no one can deny that they didn't allow this work allocation document. And this work allocation document should also be communicated to TCWG, so that the TCWG know how is the work being allocated between joint auditors. Now, for the audit work that is divided into me, for the audit work that is specifically allotted for me, I am only responsible for that particular audit work for that is specific allotted area to me. Suppose one business is allotted to me, I am only responsible for that business. I am not responsible for how the audit procedures are being performed for other businesses. Okay, yes sir. But for some things, all the joint auditors are jointly and severally responsible. These are the areas where all the joint auditors are jointly and severally responsible. Means what? They have the joint responsibility. Now the first and the foremost is your common audit area, the audit area which is not divided among the joint auditors. For that particular thing, all the joint auditors will be responsible. Suppose inventory. Second thing is the decision that they are taking from the common audit area with respect to planning, the decision that we are taking regarding the NTE of procedures that we need to perform for the common audit area, they are responsible jointly for that particular decision. I am saying, for example, in the inventory, we have to do inventory count. Suppose I have decided to do inventory count, then for deciding this particular procedure, everyone is responsible. Next, a matter which is brought to notice by one joint auditor to all the other joint auditors, and there is an agreement by all the other joint auditors, then for that particular matter, all the joint auditors will be responsible. For example, suppose in my business, when I'm auditing my business, I got to know that there is some fraud. There is a reason to believe that there is a fraud, but I'm not sure. So what I've done is I have communicated that particular matter in writing to all the other joint auditors. I have discussed them in the meeting, and all are in the agreement that this is not a business fraud. Now afterwards, if it comes out that this was a business fraud, then will I only be responsible because I was the auditor of the business? No. Since you brought that matter to the notice of all the other joint auditors, and there was an agreement among all the joint auditors, so all the joint auditors will be held responsible for that particular matter. This is done to ensure that if some joint auditor is coming to you for an advice, you give your genuine, honest advice, because you will be also responsible for that advice. Okay, yes sir. Next, for financial statement, that the financial statements are complying with the statute, all the joint auditors have to see that. Next, the presentation and disclosures as per the FRF, all the joint auditors have to see that. Next, in terms of audit report, the audit report is per the statute, all the joint auditors will have to see that. Okay, yes sir. So how we can remember this, sir? First of all, the audit work which is not divided, the decisions which is which has come for the audit common audit areas, and the matters which is brought to the notice and agreed by others in terms of financial statements and in terms of audit report, all the joint auditors are jointly and severally responsible. But mind you, I have told you that for the common audit area, when we are deciding the NT of procedures, whether the NT of procedures is appropriate or not, they are the responsibility of the joint auditors. But suppose there is inventory in 3 location A, B, C, and the inventory location is allocated, like A is allocated A location, B and company is allocated B location, C and company is allocated C location. Now for individual execution of the inventory count, each particular concerned joint auditor is only responsible, which means what, sir? Suppose we got to know that while doing an inventory count of C and company didn't do the inventory count correctly, which means what? C and company will only be responsible even if inventory was a common audit area, but since individual execution was with that concerned joint auditor, so that concerned joint auditor will be responsible, not the A and company and the B and company. Okay, yes sir, this is what given over here. Next they are saying that even if suppose C and company was doing inventory count of C location and they were not having enough resources, so they asked B and company to share their resources. B and company sent 2 articles for inventory count, and those articles didn't perform the work correctly. Now here, will B and company will be responsible since the articles were of B and company, or C and company will be responsible since the area was of C and company? So C and company will be responsible because the area was of C and company. C and company should have ensured that the articles are working appropriately. So yes, C and company will be only responsible even when the staff was used of other joint auditor. Okay, yes sir, this was a very good MCQ asked by ICF for 2 marks. Next, if a matter is relevant to other joint auditor, suppose I'm auditing revenue expenses and the fixed assets are given to some other person, and while auditing revenue expenses I got to know a capital expense which should not have been in revenue, it should have been capitalized, so I have excluded it from the revenue expense. Should I communicate this particular thing to the fixed asset guy because he should know that there is a capital expense that need to be capitalized? Obviously I should communicate. Should I communicate to him only? No, you should communicate this particular matter to all the other joint auditors in writing, and this should be done prior to the completion of audit. Obviously sir, after completion of audit, what we will do after by communicating? Prior completion of audit we have to communicate. So they are saying if there is a matter which is relevant to other joint auditors, then we need to communicate to all the other joint auditors in writing prior to the completion of audit. Okay, yes sir, let's discuss it from the concept book. We are talking about SA 299, joint audit of financial statements. They are saying that the audit and planning and strategy should be established by joint auditors jointly. Before commencement of the audit, the joint auditors should discuss and develop a joint audit plan. Now while they are developing the joint audit plan, they should do these particular thing, consider these particular thing. This is an important topic. First of all sir, prior to planning there is PR, that is results of preliminary engagement activities and any knowledge that you have gained on other engagements. Next is strategy, means scope, timing and direction. Scope is what, sir? Identifying the division of your audit areas and common audit areas. Timing is what, sir? Ascertaining the reporting objectives. And direction is what, sir? Considering and communicating among all the joint auditors which are the factors that are significant in directing the engagement team efforts. And lastly, they help us in ascertaining the NT of resources that we need to have. Next, each joint auditor should assess the ROMM and communicate to all the other joint auditors. A joint auditor should discuss and document what is the NT of procedure that they will be performing for common audit areas and specifically allotted areas. Next, joint auditor should obtain a common engagement letter and common management representation letter. There should be a work allocation document which should be signed by all the joint auditors, and that should be communicated to TCWG. Next, the audit work which is divided among the joint auditors, I will have the only responsibility for specifically allotted work to me. Now, for some areas, joint auditors should be jointly and severally responsible. This is also important. What are the areas, sir? First of all, the work which is not divided among the joint auditors. Second, all the decisions taken by them for the common audit areas in respect to the planning. Third, what the matter which is brought to the notice by the joint auditor by any one of them, and there is an agreement among the joint auditor for that particular matter. For financial statements, that they are complying with the statute, the presentation and disclosure complying with AFRF. For audit report, that they are complying with the statute. But remember, in respect of the common audit areas, all the joint auditors are jointly and severally responsible only for the appropriateness of the NT of procedures, and the individual execution lies with the concerned joint auditor. Now, even if, what if, sir, this work allocation document was never signed, work allocation was never documented, then will the particular concerned joint auditor will only be responsible, or all the joint auditor will be responsible? Only that particular concerned joint auditor will be responsible. Even if we have orally agreed the work allocation, only the concerned joint auditor will be responsible for that particular area. But if you have not documented the work allocation, which means you have done a violation of SA 299. Okay, yes sir, there is one question. We will do that question in this particular video itself. Next, in case joint auditor come across a matter which is relevant to the other joint auditor, then we need to communicate this particular thing to all the other joint auditors in writing prior to the completion of audit. audit. Okay, yes sir, there's one question, that is question number 30, that we have to do it from the question bank. This is our question bank, the same way that you are seeing the question bank on the screen, the same way you will get it in a printed format only. The questions will be highlighted with red, the answers will be highlighted with red, the keywords will be highlighted, the sources will be, all sources will be mentioned in green, and you will also get a topic wise sequence of your question bank. This is the way how we prepare our question bank, and this is the way how we provide quality in everything that we do. So here the question is, there is a major understatement in the value of inventory, and this value of inventory was looked after by MN and Associates, but there was no documentation of work allocation. Now you have to see who is responsible. So everything, every tricky question is mentioned in your concept book itself. We have just studied that even if the work allocation was not documented, the concerned joint auditor will be responsible. So MN and Associates will be responsible, but we have to frame the answer very beautifully. How IC has framed the answer: the first, these paragraph is not relevant to you, that will not contain any marks, so you can ignore this particular paragraph. Next is what, sir? Next they are saying that the division of audit areas we have to identify in your SA 299, and all the joint auditors will be jointly and severally responsible for this particular thing, which we have already discussed. Next they have discussed that we need to document the entry of resources for allocated and the common areas as well. Then we need to ensure that the work document is signed by all and it is communicated to TCWG, and each joint auditor is only responsible for the work that is allocated to him. So everything that we have studied, they have mentioned from different bits and pieces of information. Next, in the instant case, that is not relevant, that has 0 marks. Next, lastly, they have said that the MN and Associates will be held responsible for this particular thing. Further, since they have not documented the division of responsibility, if there is a violation of SA 299. Okay, yes, so for inventory only that particular joint auditor is responsible. For violation of SA 299, all joint auditors are responsible. Okay, yes sir. Next they are saying that each joint auditors is entitled to assume. What we are entitled to assume, what is the assumption that we can make? First of all, that the other joint auditors have done their work as per SAs. We are not required to review the work of other joint auditors. This is the beautiful thing, right? If other joint auditors are performing their work, they are CAs. I can assume that they have performed their work as per SAs. I am not required to review their work. Okay, if I am required to review the work, then I will do the work myself, right? Okay, yes sir. Second, I can assume that other joint auditors, if any of the joint auditors has noticed any departure of AFRF or has any significant observation, they have brought it to my notice as well. I can assume, I need not to ask any individual joint auditor whether you have known any departure of AFRF or whether you know any significant observation or not. I can just assume if they were known any, and then they have obviously communicated to me. Next, I can assume that if there was a branch or there was a division in the entity and which was audited by the other joint auditors, then I not need to audit or review the financial statements again. I can assume that the financial statements of the branch or the division are complying with all the laws and regulations. Okay, yes sir. Next is last is reporting by joint auditors. Do I have to issue separate individual audit report? No sir, that will create a lot of mess. So joint auditors can issue a common audit report. But sir, what if I am an AN company? I think that there is a modified opinion that should come, and there is a BN company and CN company which both think that there should be unmodified opinion. Should I need to go by majority, that I will have to follow them since they are 2 and I am 1? No, they are saying no, you are a CA, so you can give your individual opinion. So they are saying if there is a disagreement with respect to anything in the report, you can issue separate audit reports. So AN company will issue one report and BN company, CN company together will issue second audit report. Now sir, suppose a user gets only first audit report, so he will think there is modified opinion. User gets only second audit report, so he will think there is just an unmodified opinion. So to avoid any misunderstanding and to avoid this situation, they have said that in the individual audit report, you have to refer the other audit report as well. So they have to refer each other audit report. How they will refer, sir? In a particular matter paragraph, other matter paragraph, basically here you can see that other matter paragraph, we have to mention in our audit report. Suppose AN company will mention in his report that you have to see, the users of financial statements must see the second audit report which is issued by BN company and CN company, and the BN and the second audit report, it will be mentioned that there was an audit report which was issued by N company, which they should also refer. So in a way, when the users are reading any of the reports, they will get to know that there is also another audit report, and this is mentioned in the other matter paragraph because it is fundamental to users understanding of the auditor's report. Okay, yes sir, we will discuss in detail in SA 706. Now there was one MCQ that we have to do. First of all, let's do it from the concept book, then we will do this particular MCQ. Let's see who answers it first and in the best possible way. So they are saying that each joint auditor is entitled to assume. What we are entitled to assume that first of all, that the other joint auditors are carrying out their work as per the essays, and we don't have to review the work performed by other joint auditors. Second, other joint auditors have brought to the joint auditors notice, they have brought to my notice any departure from AFRF or significant observation that they have noticed. Second, where the joint auditors of the where any joint auditor is responsible for the financial statements of division or branch, then I am entitled to assume that the financial statements of division or branch are complying with all the laws and regulatory requirements. Okay, yes sir. Last, this particular topic is important. Look at over here, reporting by joint auditors. They are need to issue a common audit report. However, if they are in disagreement with regard to any opinion or any of the matters, they can issue a separate audit report. They are not required to go by maturity. In such circumstances, the audit report that is issued by one joint auditor should be have reference to the audit report of other joint auditors. Okay, in under paragraph, that is other matter paragraph as per SA 706. Let's ask one of the MCQ. The MCQ is this. First of all, you have to tell me, like there are 4 options, 4 situation, and you have to tell me which is a compliance and which is a non-compliance of SA 299. What is the thing, sir? They have saying that there is a listed company which has appointed X and company and Y company as joint auditors. The work has been divided between the joint auditors, and there is a formal audit allocation plan which is approved by both the firms, which means what, their work allocation document is also signed. Now, during the audit, the following events have occurred. Inventory was allocated to X and company, revenue was allocated to Y and company. While reviewing the financial statements, X and company noticed an unusual trend in revenue recognition which was allocated to Y and company. But he assumed that since the revenue was allocated to Y and company, there was no further consideration necessary on A and company part. Is it compliance or non-compliance? Next thing, the joint auditors jointly evaluated the going concern assumption, and they agreed upon all the audit procedure to be performed in this area because it affected the financial statements as a whole. Is it compliance or non-compliance? Next, Y and company completed their work on revenue and issued a detailed internal memorandum to X and company summarizing the procedures that were performed by the Y and company. Now, X and company, what they do, sir? And X and company relied entirely on the memorandum without reviewing whether the conclusions that were made by the X and company with regard to revenue, whether they were reasonable or not in the context of the financial statement as a whole. So X and company just relied entirely on Y and company's work. Next, during the finalization of the audit, Y and company disagreed with the proposed accounting treatment of a material litigation provision. But despite this unresolved disagreement, both the joint auditors signed a common audit report without respecting their respective views. Y and company didn't told the other joint auditor that he is not he is disagreeing with the proposed accounting treatment of material litigation provision. Okay, yes sir. So these were 4 situations and these are your options. You have to answer it in the comment with the explanation, and whoever answers is rightly, I will give a heart so that other students knows the correct answer. And if you don't know the correct answer, I will also give myself the correct answer with the explanation in the pinned comment. So check the pinned comment. At the last, I would have given the answer and with the explanation. Okay, yes sir. If you have watched till last, then please make sure you do like the video to complete our target of 250 likes. I'm pretty sure that you will help me to achieve the right target. And sir, if you have watched till last, please comment down. I will become chartered accountant. I want to see how many students watch it till last. And please give your share your feedbacks and suggestions. That will really motivate me to put more revision videos for you guys in CA Final Audit for English, and also more resources for CA Final Audit. And sir, just lastly, I will take just 2 minutes of your, and I will describe you all the resources that we have so that you are not missing out on any of the resources. This is the resources list, and these are all the resources that we have posted on Telegram channel and on YouTube channel. You can directly click on this particular link and you can directly watch out that particular resources. This PDF can be found on our Telegram channel, and there is for specifically English, we have posted the new ICA case scenario booklet in English. You can definitely watch that. And to talk about the paid resources, we currently have an exam oriented batch of 45 hours which contains 100% questions and 100% questions concepts in English. We are going to launch more batches in English in future soon. For concept book, we have already shown you the concept book. Question bank we have already shown, but there is one more unique part that we have part 1 and part 2 of the question bank. Part 2 contains all the analytical questions, all the tricky questions, all the interpretational questions, and part 2 contains all the direct questions. So you can skip the part 2 and reduce your time of preparing as well. Next, in terms of handwritten notes, we will send you the PDF. We will also soon going to launch a printed colorful version of the handwritten notes. Test series, sir, we have all subject test series for CA final your attempt November 26 and onwards attempt. Cumulative, we have 30% syllabus. You can do 3 times, 70% syllabus 2 times, and 100% syllabus 1 time. Full syllabus, we have 4 test series. 10 days challenge we have, in which in 10 days you will be completing one particular subject, each subject in 10 days, and there will be 5 tests in your 10 days challenge. All the details are mentioned over here. Detailed evaluation feedbacks are provided by CS for each of the questions and overall answer sheet, and the ICA level pattern is maintained. Comparative analysis you will get on the test series dashboard itself, question by question, how many marks you have got, what is the chapter number, what is the topic name, how many marks you have got, the average marks, the topper marks, top 10 percentile marks, top 25 percentile marks, everything you can look at over here. Next, if you want friend come guide come mentor who guides you, motivates you, who supports you till the exams, who makes planner for you, who is there to you, for you, who keeps you in discipline, who keeps you in check, who makes pressure on you. We have one-on-one mentorship program for all these things. 62% passing percentage were there in January 26, which was the toughest attempt. You can click it over here and got all the details. Then we have a cash prizes per student of 1,20,000 just as a motivation to motivate you further to score more. And all the details can be found in the pinned comment link and here as well. Lastly, after your CA exams for your career, we are here for with resume, LinkedIn, job interview, domain guidance, everything that is helpful to you in Career Navigator program. And sir, after you become CA, we will party together. We will felicitate you together in our felicitation fiesta. The glimpse can be found over here. We have this is our WhatsApp number 9023725601. You can ask any of your queries on this WhatsApp number. Your audit in AFM is going to be our responsibility. For AFM, we are also starting very much soon our English resources. So do watch out, Nikhil sir, as well. Next, sir, after doing this particular topic, you can do all the questions and all the questions will be easy for you. Next, all the important topic that I have marked over here is our general important topics. For attempt a specific most expected topic, we will be coming out with a video very soon. And lastly, I will just like to say, as the joint auditors can share the workload, but CA students can't share the struggle. The struggle, the effort, the journey from a CA student to becoming a CA is only ours. We are the one who will have to struggle for becoming a chartered accountant. But obviously, sir, a teacher can help you, a teacher can guide you, and we can together make your journey shorter and help you to clear CA in a very good way in your next attempt. So yes, if you're promising me that you will give your 100%, then please write it down. I will become chartered accountant. This time we will get exemption and audit. Please keep me in your prayers. Thank you. Bye-bye.